going on, guys? K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great start to your week. Now, obviously, today is a holiday, so we're not seeing any trading on stocks, and you are seeing a very boring candle today for Bitcoin. Now, there was this, I guess this was out on the news. It says that this is the second longest streak for Bitcoin price ever, 12 straight days of green. That's not exactly correct because a lot of exchanges actually are showing that there was a red day. But anyway, nevertheless, it has been an incredibly exuberant move. Now, there is something that we need to pay attention to. In fact, there's three different things I want to bring to your attention, and you need to watch this video before Tuesday, right? Before stocks open, because there's a lot of things happening right now. We have a very critical level on the S&P. We have something interesting going on with the Bitcoin miners right now. And also, if you're paying attention to the longs versus the shorts right now, we also have a very interesting picture that's starting to be painted. So if that sounds good to you and you guys want to learn some more crypto stuff along the way, we obviously had a great move. But if you are new, we actually have had a lot of subscribers lately. So hello, nice to meet you guys. Maybe the pump is getting everyone excited, but we need to talk about realistically what to expect. So that being said, today's video a little bit shorter than usual. We know it's kind of still just like a 3-day weekend, but I want you to be prepared for what happens tomorrow. So let's dive in. Let's have a look at what's going on. The first thing that we noticed right here is that even though we did have this major pump and we were able to break down the center of this heart line, right? Remember, we said that this was a very important level, and we knew that once we got through that, we were going to see a big move. And boy, did we have a big move, 25% in just that candle alone. But what's happening right here is we are finding resistance at this previous level. Now, this was the area right here where Bitcoin was hanging out right before we had the crazy FTX dump, right? So it's a very psychological level. And the fact that you're seeing, profit being taken here is something to just note, right? A lot of investors, maybe they're just feeling like, hey, I broke even, whatever. So they are kind of taking those profits. Now, if we come over here, and as I've been stating, and keep in mind, I've been actually using very simple charts lately, right? I'm not using any RSI or VWAP or anything crazy. I'm trying to break this down super simple because this is what you just literally have to look for. And it's very, very crystal clear. You just want to put in a short-term higher high. That's all you want to do, right? You just want to put in a short-term higher high. And you can see right here, yes, okay, right here, you could say this is a short-term higher high, but this is on the much lower time frame, right? We had this double bottom move, but what you're really looking at is, I don't know why I just turned the volume on. Let me look at this bigger picture right here. If we look at this bigger picture, you can clearly see that, we are in, this very, very clear downtrend, right? So obviously what you want to do, these being the major peaks right here, right here, right here, right here, those types of things, this is a move inside of it, right? So as you can see right here, we had a double bottom right here. And this could not get as high as this, right? We just had a double bottom right here. And this could not get as high as this. So do you see the issue that I'm saying, guys? I don't want you guys to fall into a trap of a fake out, where we have something like double bottom like this. Oh, great. And then we just come down lower, right? We need that confirmation. We need to break above minimally this candle right here at around $21,500, right? If we come over here, the even bigger scenario is this major downward sloping trend right here. This is the big, big, big trend that we need to break. And I did say it was possible that we could get up to that level. In fact, I don't see why Bitcoin couldn't get up to $23,200. It's possible in this move. Would that be short-term, kind of bullish? Yes, of course, we'd be putting in, a higher high compared to this, but ultimately on the major downtrend, you're not seeing that. And the biggest pivot point for me is where we had this original Terra Luna crash, right? This was the first big crash that really set off the crypto contagion. And you could see, actually, a lot of people were, calling for the bottom. They thought it was the bottom right there. I mean, look at this wick, right? This wick from top to bottom, we came down. That was an 18% wick only to get bought completely back up, right? And people really thought that that was the bottom. We even on the channel, we said, hey, that was a big capitulation wick. And then we continued to the downside anyway. So we have also had that right here, but we need that confirmation. We need to get above, first of all, just short term, we need to get higher than this pivot area right here, 21,500. That's number one. Number two, you want to break out of this downtrend, right? You want to break this downtrend right here. That's number two. And then number three is you want to eventually reclaim this area right here. If we do all of those things, then I will say bull run is back on, long with 100x margin to the moon. Don't ever use 100x actually, but then I would be saying full on. Right now, I think we've had a decent move. Now, side note, What I'm wondering is, obviously, is this a bull trap? Is this manipulation? But also, could it be possible that some very large entity has secretly been buying Bitcoin? I mean, obviously, you could say manipulation for whales to exit into liquidity, but I do wonder because we did see so much accumulation in this area and we saw so many whale wallets adding Bitcoin. It just makes me wonder if we're going to see some big announcement like, oh, Apple officially put Bitcoin on their balance sheet, or like the UAE started buying in mass, or like a sovereign wealth fund started dipping their toes in Bitcoin, right? I don't know. It's just speculation. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it would be quite interesting to see if we did have some big news like that, right? That kind of explains why we had this crazy pump after the sideways consolidation. But as I did say, we are above this 21 exponential, which historically speaking, you could see generally once we get above it, we stay above it for a very long time. And then as soon as we break below it, like we did right here, we fall below it and it acts as resistance. Now, you can have these fake outs where it does stay above it for a couple weeks, but it ultimately tends to become that bigger resistance, right? Same thing right here. We broke through it. So we stayed above it. So, you can see right here, we have broke above it, but can we maintain above it, right? Currently, that level is sitting at around 19,571. Now, we did say that there was a possibility, especially on this downwards trend right here, that if we were to reclaim some of these lower levels, like come back down to here, this would put us back in the $17,600 range. Now, that would still be good because we would be putting in a higher low, which would honestly be a lot more healthy. If we came down and had like sort of a slow grind back up, rather than just straight up to the moon, because, if we go back to, for example, here, look what happened back in 2019 into 2020, right? This was a crazy pump, right? From bottom to top, we were down at around 3,000. We had a crazy 340% pop, right? But what ended up happening? We lost momentum and came back down again. And even if you just kind of scribble out, this sort of COVID, crash right here, just kind of get rid of that. Just get rid of that right there. You can kind of see that we were still grinding slowly sideways anyway, which is really what you want, right? You want that slow grind. And, in my opinion, this is not really long enough to be a true bear market bottom. If we did just completely break out of here, I'm okay with that. I have a very, very, very large Bitcoin spot exposure. I have a lot of Bitcoin, trust me, I'm holding it for the long term. So this is good for me. Long term, obviously, but short term, you do want a little more consolidation. You don't just want to straight up, boom right to the moon. And the other thing too is in the past, every time Bitcoin does have this bottom out, we tend to ride on this 200 weekly moving average. You can see right here, right? 200 weekly moving average. Even when we had this dip down on COVID, we still reclaimed the 200 weekly moving average. Right here, you can see it's actually acted as resistance and we've still yet to claim it. So this is why I say just be cautious. I am not being a bear. I'm not saying, this is the end of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is dead. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, be careful FOMOing in because I just want to show you something super quick. So this is the major rally that we had for Bitcoin, this orange line. And what we're looking at right here, even though it doesn't really look like much, this is the shorts on Bitfinex, right? So it shows the amount of shorts that are basically piling up. And, you could see that what usually tends to happen is the market has a big move and then the shorts start to pile up, right? And shorts are usually a little bit late to the game, right? You can see right here where, we have these massive spike in shorts. And I mean, obviously that was already after the move, had gone from 70K all the way down to about 33K. And then everybody starts getting bearish and short, right? So I just want to point out levels in which the shorts start to close, right? We saw a lot of shorts getting liquidated. Actually, it was over $600 million worth of shorts. So you can see the level that we're at right now. You can see this red line, right? Now, look at around when we dip down into some of these levels, right? You can see right here, we're starting to get really low, right? And you can see, obviously on the way up, I mean, even here, the shorts start to close. And, look at this. From there to there, what do we have? From this level, that's a 10% fall, right? This area right here, basically called the top. Here we go. We come back down here again, right? Shorts start to close. All right, right here, we have another dip. There's a little mini pump that the shorts get, and then a 7% fall. Here it gets really, really low. This is the lowest it gets. So this short actually was pretty accurate. These guys, that was a good call for people that put the shorts in. So we have one so far that's against us, right? This one right here, the shorts are starting to close. That was a major correction. We kept falling. Right here, shorts are starting to close. And that was a major correction down as well. And then currently right here, you could see that the shorts are starting to close again. So really, out of all of these examples, there's only one call that was pretty good, and that was this one right here, right? So out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6 out of the 7 times you're seeing shorts close at this levels, you tend to see a big spike to the downside. Also, Bitcoin miner position index, right? So this is very important because when we see these very large spikes, what we tend to see is big sell pressure for Bitcoin. So you can see right here back in 2022 of April, massive, massive spike, biggest spike we've ever seen. And the price starts to roll over, right? We got a little spike down here. You can see a little mini rollover. This one, very, very small sell-off. But as you guys can see right here, we have a very, very large spike. Again, in fact, this is the second large spike in the position index that we've had since April before we saw this rollover. So that's something else to consider. Now, why is it so important to watch this video before tomorrow? Well, because right now, and this is interesting. This is very interesting. So what we have right now is this megaphone pattern on the S&P, right, where it keeps getting wider. This is called a descending broadening wedge pattern, which is actually bullish. This is actually a bullish pattern, believe it or not. But the major question is, are we going to be rejected one more time on well, we're not going to fall down. We're going to go backwards, guys. We're going to go backwards. No, but what is concerning is that we are again hitting this major resistance, and you can see lower high, lower high, lower high, 2 lower highs, and yet another lower high. Now, the question is, remember how we had said with the bear flags before on Bitcoin, there were 5 of them, right? So we said, what are the odds that we actually get a 5th one to the downside? It just seems unlikely. And it pumped the other way, right? So we were correct on that call. Same question here. What are the odds that it gets rejected 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a 6th time? Are we actually going to get that rejection on the S&P? Or are we going to have that breakout, which would be really good for Bitcoin short term? But here's the thing. Now, I know we have this little area right here, but I think this is way too soon. So obviously if we get above that, but really you're looking at around basically 4298, or you can even just kind of round it to 4300. So if we do have that breakout, is it going to be a fake out where then we fall back below? I think a lot of what we're going to see in the stock market is going to also affect Bitcoin, unfortunately. I do believe long term that Bitcoin is going to separate, is going to decouple from stocks. Absolutely 100%. I think within the next 5 years, maybe 10 years at the most, we're going to see Bitcoin 100% decouple. It's going to be its own thing, its own beast, right? Its own market. But right now, we're still seeing a lot of that speculation tied to these types of assets, right? You're seeing some of these meme stocks pumping. You're also seeing Bitcoin pumping. So you're seeing that when, things start to go risk on, Bitcoin pumps harder, but it also gets hit harder when things reverse to the other side, right? So obviously, just having a look once again, if you just kind of look at these previous bears, and you look at this market right here, right? Down to 157, up to 313, down to 210, up to 316, down to 194. And then finally we break it. And that move, literally, if you take a measured move, how long did that take? Let's just say to break right here, right? To break even and start a new trend. That took 322 days of sideways bear market accumulation before we bounce to the upside, right? And you can kind of even say that, we had all of this accumulation happening right here, and then we had that 50% crash, and then it took getting back to those levels to start the bull market, really, right? And, even if you want to look at just the majority of the accumulation, that took a very long time. Now, coming down to this move right here, if you really look at this major dip from where we've started putting this in, how long have we really been accumulating for? About 217 days, right? So this could tell us that it's possible, that we could even bounce between the range of, 18,000, even all the way up to 30,000, which would get a lot of people excited. But we could theoretically bounce around in this range even through the end of the year, right? I had actually said that I believe we could see a $30,000 Bitcoin at some point this year. But if you asked me, I would say that that would be more towards the end of the year than just like straight up rally right now. But that's just my opinion. You know, my opinion doesn't mean diddly squat. The only thing that matters is what is happening in the charts. So we do have to pay attention to that. So guys, make sure that you get subscribed. Everything on this channel is absolutely free. Of course, if you guys do want to learn how to trade, make sure that you, check the links below in the description. There's over $56,000, I believe, in bonuses, all different platforms you guys can use. But make sure that you get subscribed, turn on the bell notification. Tomorrow is going to be a very big day for the markets, and I will be letting you know what I'm looking at. And if you guys want to follow me on my other platforms as well, there's links below. I have Instagram, I have TikTok, and I'm also on Twitter. So sometimes when I can't post on YouTube, you guys can find me over there. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I make these videos. Until next time, stay crypto. Check this video popping up right here, right now. And of course, peace out.